honestly, my first exposure was, gosh, I was probably 8 years old, 9 years old, and I was friends with Kelly Coons, who was Yvonne Ulmer's daughter. And I came out and I helped on the Fantastics every night at intermission, picking up little scraps of paper with Kelly. So that was my first introduction. But then fast forward several years, and my son was in a show, Best Little or Worst Little Christmas Pageant. Best Worst, I can't remember the name, but he was in that show. And I came out as a stage mom and helped with makeup and corral the kids. My first audition was for The Diviners. That was directed by Robert Sahlberg and Rachel Duncan. I got cast. I played Goldie, and that was the start of a beautiful relationship with Pentacle Theatre. Terrifying. I had done theater in college. But I was a non-traditional student, so I did mostly background tech stuff, lighting, stage managing, props. So when I decided I wanted to get back into theater, because Parker was old enough for me to kind of do other things, it was fun to get back into it. I really did not think I'd get cast, but I thought I'd give it a shot, and I did. I have done 16 shows in either being on stage, stage managing, or assistant directing since 2008. No. No. Prefer, it's weird because I love being on stage, but I prefer being in the background in every other aspect. Being on stage is a totally different beast, and I love that. But when it comes to putting myself out there, I'd rather be stage managing because it's in the background, or assistant directing because it's more in the background, and really letting other people be in the lead and out in the front. I loved the script, and that's why I auditioned for it. I really enjoyed the way Della grew, but yet stayed true to herself. It didn't end it ended happily, but it didn't end in some sort of fairy tale way, which life never ends in a fairy tale, honestly. So I appreciated that it was a happy ending, but it wasn't a pat ending. There was still turmoil on a lower level, but the love was definitely there. The love showed through. The love was given and received, and that was what was most important. It was hard, I think, for everybody in a different way. We were just getting into the groove. We all know that we were fortunate with the circumstances of COVID coming up that we were able to do half of a run. When you're halfway through a show, that's when things are just so smooth and running so great. And it was difficult to find out that that was our last night. Or possibly. I mean, we still were under the impression perhaps that we could come back because nobody knew the full extent of what was going to happen. But it was very hard, because you have a certain preparation for your last show that you do, and we didn't get that preparation. We walked in and we were told, and we weren't prepared to make it our last show. Then I think about the shows that were actually started production and we're told, well, too bad, you don't even get to move forward and continue working on your creation. So we were thankful that we were able to bring our creation to fruition and get to show that to audiences. We had people coming to see it that didn't get to see it, that were really important to us. And so that was difficult because we were so proud of our show, of course, and so excited for people to come, and then all of a sudden they can't. And I'm hoping that those casts that started their process and didn't get to finish it, that they will be able to come back and be able to enter it with the same, hey, I just got cast excitement. Well, the show that touched me the most, I think, was Yellow. The cast was awesome. Everything was awesome about it. And but I enjoy shows that make me really go way beyond where I'm comfortable. And that show was cathartic every night. And the story was just something to behold. I just loved that show. All my shows have something, of course, dear to me. You know, the first show I'm in was a gorgeous show, The Diviners. Every single one of them has done something for my soul, either in the role that I played or the people I met or the work that I did behind the scenes or as assistant directing. Something was different. Something touched me. I will never ever get to play the role because I'm aging out of it, and I love Magenta in Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'd love to play Magenta, but I'm a little aged out, and I don't know. She would be fun to play. I'm trying to figure out how to put it into words. It's huge. There are so many people who call it family. When you walk out to the theater and you see this little theater in the woods and you think, oh, little theater, because it's just so cozy. But the participation in that little theater is huge from the community. From board members to actors to behind the scenes to donors. Even though it looks like this little theater, it's giant in its aspirations. Everybody takes it to the level of a big theater. Nobody wants to put on a half, well, I can't say that word, a half partial show, just, it's what I wanted to say. No, nobody wants to put on a half-ass show. Everybody knows that we have a reputation of being quality, good theater, and we take it seriously. And there are very few shows that don't come off in some way, shape, or form as being up on par with those shows that come to Portland. And it's big. It's bigger than it looks. So volunteerism, of course, we have countless opportunities to be as involved or not involved as you want to be in our theater, and we run on volunteers. We have 5 paid positions, and that's it for a theater that does 8 shows a year. Everything else is run by volunteers. Volunteers on our board, volunteers as cast, volunteers as directors, stage managers, lighting, sound, costumes. Everything is volunteer run, and if somebody is looking for something to do, they can volunteer once a show by being on hospitality and showing people where their seats are, to being full on stage or costuming a show. You can get as involved as you want, and you can be as noticed as you want as well. So we not only have the ability to let you be as involved as you want, but you can be as noticed as you want as a volunteer. There are some volunteers who just prefer to be in the background in every aspect and are looking for a place to just go in and help put away costumes. And they don't need to be a part of all the big events or anything. They just want to feel like they're part of a community or giving back in some, which to us, putting away costumes is a big way. It's a very narrow path on what you can do to volunteer for some organizations. And I think that we have such a wide variety of how you can help and how you can be a part of it and maybe dip your toe into theater in ways that you didn't know you could help. Some people have been backstage their whole lives and they've gotten so comfortable with it that, you know, maybe they want to dip their toe into acting, and we have opportunities to be an ensemble person or, you know, background on some of our bigger shows. So you can put your foot on the stage and still be your nice little comfort zone. So. Yeah. Well, my favorite is cleaning the auditorium because I can do it fast. But we also we clean the bathrooms in the lobby, men's and women's. Hospitality has kindly taken over cleaning the lobby for us, which is so nice to at least have one thing off of our bucket list. You know, so when you're a cast of 4 and you have to do cleaning the bathrooms and keeping your own room clean and clean the paths down, make sure the deck is cleaned off. When you're a cast of 4, that's a lot of chores that you all have to do every night. Actually, hospitality has also taken over the auditorium. Thank you, hospitality. We appreciate all of the help that you do for us backstage. We really appreciate it. Every time we get to a show and say, well, hospitality is doing this, we're like, yes, thank you. Thank you so much. So we don't just act, we clean toilets. We have overcome as a theater other obstacles. We always figure out a way to make it work in our space. Just everything. I sat on the board and things that were thrown at us, somehow we figured it out. Somehow we made it work. Somehow we did it. Whether we have to start doing shows, summer shows outside, we got beautiful property to do that. We will get creative like what we're doing here. This is a creative way to keep our beautiful theater on the forefront of people's minds so that we are able to come back full force. We know that our community, that our donors, our sponsors, our volunteers remember how beautiful we are and how beautiful our theater is and how much good theater there is out there. And so as a creative, passionate group of artists, the minute some restriction is pulled off, we'll figure out a way to niche ourselves into that little pulled off restriction. And how do we use that to our advantage? And we'll figure out a way to get our theater back up and running. But I think that what we're doing in these interviews is amazing because, and I think that's why I wanted to do one, is it keeps us relevant in a very different world. Who would have ever thought we'd be doing video interviews with people with Pentacle Theatre to make sure that we are remembered, because it's an important, theater's important, arts are important, because what's everybody doing right now but sitting at home watching people perform arts? TikTok, YouTube, you know, all those things. Art is important. Otherwise, what would you have to do all day right now when you're stuck at home? Nothing. So, you know, people love the arts because we are entertaining you right now because we're creative.